Shateek said something the first time, like, and she was like, yeah, she said something. And I was like, oh, wow. Like, yeah, because I'm the only one in my other family that responds in that way. So it's like, okay, it's making sense now. And yeah, that was kind of it.
So Shateek, your sister said she liked to fight, so you must have liked to fight too. You said you met her before, so when did you develop a stronger relationship or a closer bond with her? Because that time you said she saw you, but you don't think she remembers that. But now at your age, which is,
Yeah.
she will say that if she wants
I'm
to,
28.
at 28, what is your relationship now like with your siblings?
Um, so for me and Shateek, like I said, I don't think that she remembers it because it's like, damn, like,
Mm-hmm.
oh my God,
Because
like,
she remembers it at the funeral.
and I'm telling you, we were like with each other years, like maybe like a year or two before,
His
because I
passing.
remember when my father passed, when she called me, we already had a relationship. It wasn't
Okay.
oh, this is awkward. It was like, hey, I have something to tell you today, kind of thing. It
Mm-hmm.
wasn't, so we really already had a relationship. And I feel like my father knew that too. He
Mm-hmm.
knew. Somebody had said something, a cousin or something, like, oh, um, Shateek was with Arielle or something like that. So he knew. I
You
don't
started to
think
see each
he
other.
questioned it. It was
Mm-hmm.
just kind of like, okay,
So
whatever.
prior to his passing, what was your relationship with him like at that time? Because I know you said till about 10, you guys were good. So there was was there like a gap? And then because
Yeah.
Shateek called you,
Mm.
so did you know anything was going on with your dad at that time?
No,
Or you weren't speaking to him?
I didn't speak to him. I didn't speak to him just because I feel like everything always turned into my mom, and it was just kind of like, honestly, this story is about me. Like, I hate to be that person, but I literally am the main character.
Mm-hmm.
So because you don't see that, then right now your placement in my book is no longer here. And it's hard because that was my father, right? And I wanted a relationship, like, even down to the way that, like, my other sister and Shateek talk about my father, how he was, just that. He was that for them. He was a dad. I don't know what that's like. So it's kind of like, okay. But then, like, when you look at the whole story, it's just like, truthfully, this is too much. So okay, fine. Like, and like I said, my relationship with Shateek just, like, it grew,
Mm-hmm.
but I didn't like the way that being around them felt. I was around their mom. Shateek didn't know that, but I was around their mom, and I didn't like the way that I felt. And again, not knowing, I'm thinking, honestly speaking, like, oh, this must be like my dad's new girlfriend or something.
So you thought
Not
she was new
knowing
to the
this
picture.
is his wife. You get what I'm saying? So I always have been living in the dark, not knowing anything. And yeah, like, my feelings were always hurt. When I found out everything, it was kind of like, why you guys could have just cleaned this up a little better. I'm not gonna lie, because I'm the one that got hurt in this. And am I okay now? Absolutely. Um, I think a lot of becoming a mental health counselor is because of everything that I went through, and I don't want anybody to feel the way that I've felt, like, in this story. But yeah, like, it's hard to not have a relationship with the man that everyone talks about as being so great, and it's just like, damn, okay.
So you didn't get to experience the greatness that everybody spoke about. You had him for a portion of your life,
Mm-hmm.
and then there became a time where it's like, you know what? I want to talk to you about you. You want to talk about my mom, so I don't want to talk to you. So you had to do, I guess, the most, like, one of the hardest things to do and be like, you know what? I know you're my dad. I love you, but I love me more.
Yeah.
And right now, I don't want to be on the phone with you talking about my mom. I want to talk about me. I want to talk about
Yeah.
what's going on in my life.
Yeah.
So that brings me to my next question, which is, how did your father and your mother's relationship have like a negative effect or impact on how you viewed relationships and men?
Um, First of all, I don't talk to men with kids. And I don't talk with men with kids because that means that you had a family. And I know what that feels like. So absolutely not. I feel like everybody's like, oh, well, you're getting older. It's hard to meet a man with no kids. I'm young. I get it, but nah, because I know what that feels like. I think it's a little different because I feel like maybe for like Shateek and my other sister, it would be different. Like they probably wouldn't talk to married men, but everybody in this generation isn't really getting married anymore. They're having children before that. So I would definitely say from what I grew up in, I want a family of my own, and that's it. I don't want to go into any other family. I don't want to damage another child by taking their father away from them. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, and it's just little things like that that I would never want anybody else to experience. So for me,
so that's just a non-negotiable. There's no going around that.
Can't do it. It got to be a real significant case, like, and I really got to know that like this isn't hurting again your other family, because at the end of the day, you're always gonna have another family. So I'm real big on that. Like I can't do it.
So no family, no other children. If we're dealing with each other, you have to have 0 kids. Yeah. So being that, of course, you're 28, so you've been in relationships. In these relationships, have you found yourself saying, let me check his phone, let me see what's going on? Have you been to a space or place in any of your relationships where you felt insecure or felt like, is he doing something? Have you had those moments? Because I know, like my dad, he had this going on. So were you paranoid a little bit?
No, I feel like my attitude has always been like, especially like things like going through phones, I know I'm gonna find something that I don't want to see. So that would be insanity for me to go through this and to hurt myself. So why do it? And honestly, I feel like I get a lot of that from like my mom, right? You know, you know, but so I see a lot of it in both of them, that how I view things. And like I said, sometimes like I'll speak to my mom and she'll say something and I'll be like, you know what, I wouldn't handle it that way. And then I'll be like, but I wonder why I wouldn't handle it that way, because it's just certain things that like I notice it's like, okay, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. That's a lot to unpack. You mentioned earlier that your upbringing and what you went through had a lot to do with the field of study that you took. Like, I want to be a mental health counselor. So have you come across people who share your story? And when you hear those stories, is it like, oh my goodness, this is bringing me to a place that I don't want to be? Is it something where you're able to turn your personal life off and just focus on what's happening?
To be honest, no. I feel like nobody really knows my story.
Yeah, even though they don't know
like,
it, but
no, but still, like I feel like nobody really knows my story. So when people are telling certain stories, it's kind of like, oh, I can see the similarity there. But I feel like my story is so different, and then the fact that nobody knows it makes it even more like, no, it's not relatable to you, because there's so much more to that little tiny little piece that you may have. But I guess little points of my story I can see in other people's stories, and it's like, yikes. Same again, like I feel like with dating, it's just kind of like certain signs I clearly know what that means. We don't really have to keep talking about it or going over it. Like,
so do you judge the situation if you notice something? Right. So it's immediately no.
Yeah, I'm okay.
You don't argue, you don't question?
No, that's
she fine. Said that's it.
Yeah.
If she sees it, you gotta go.
Yeah.
So to be 28 and already working in the field that you love and having that family dynamic, do you want to be married? Is that something, because you said dating, I'll date somebody but they can't have children. What are your views on marriage?
So I feel like my whole life I was like, I never wanted to get married. I never want to be married. I don't want to be married. Like, I don't know. I think you look at your parent, right? My mom wasn't married. Again, in my eyes, my mom had my dad. She, she had her boyfriends and stuff like that. But my mom was a single mom. Like it was what it was. Like, so you look at that like, oh, she's so strong. She's so independent. I want to be just like her. Okay, cool. So yeah, I don't want to be married. But then I look at other situations like my grandfather recently just passed away and my grandma's sick now. But until the moment my grandfather passed away, they were married for 63 years.
And this is on your mom's
and
side.
this is on my mom's side. And it was like, damn, that make me look at marriage like, damn, I want to be able to tell my great-great-grandkids, like, oh, me and your great-great-grandfather were together and we did this. So it's like, I have kind of different views on it.
So you want the happily ever after sometimes, and then sometimes you're like, no thanks.
Yep. I get that from my dad, clearly.
Wow. So what's next for you with building your relationship with your siblings? Like,
my relationship with my other two sisters is like,
do you want a relationship with them?
I would be open to it. I mean, we have nothing to lose, truthfully. I mean, I wouldn't even say it's a relationship. Like, like, I don't know. It's just kind of like we're around.
Right.
Like, if it was a need to talk, we could.
How does your mom feel now about you having a relationship with your siblings? Is she like happy that you made the connection? Because it's something that you wanted.
Yeah.
I wanted my siblings, so now I'm doing like. Do you feel like, oh man, I don't want to do this, but I do want to do this?
Yeah. No, I think my mom is happy.
Mm-hmm.
I think my mom is happy now because it's something that's making me happy. It's something that's like, okay, well, at least you can get whatever answers you want, or you'll be. My mom's always been open about like anything that I wanted to know and stuff. Like, she's always told me, like, when I was like old enough to ask, like, is that his wife? Like, explain to me. She told me. She was like, yes. So I couldn't take that from her. So I think now she's happy because it's just like, okay. And then when I told her from the first time I was on the phone with Shateek, she was like, and what happened? And I was just like, I don't know, like nothing happened. Like, it was a good conversation. And she was like, oh, okay, like that's good. And I'm, huh? What do you mean?
So you're happy that?
Are you hearing what I'm saying? Like, I'm thinking that she's gonna be upset, like, or I'm thinking that she's gonna want to know more, and she didn't question it. She didn't say anything, and I'm like, okay. Just when I thought that I caught some of this story and I got a grip of some of it, I do think that my mom's behavior was just like, oh, okay, great. I was like,
so,
oh, okay.
You felt comfortable to just continue. You have your niece and nephew that's within your age group, and then you have a younger niece. So what's your relationship like?
I have three nieces.
Okay.
And one nephew from Shateek.
Okay. Oh yes, it is three. Yeah. It's three girls, one boy, and the older children are closer.
Yep. I've gone out with Davier. Like, I will call Davier
and hang out.
Yeah, girl, what you doing?
So what is it like having your niece and nephews that's your age when you go out and people try to talk to them?
Oh, I don't play like that. And like, it's crazy because like on Instagram and stuff, like I'll post her pictures because she's beautiful.
Yeah, she is beautiful.
So I'll post her pictures and I'll be like, look, y'all don't want that problem, so just leave it alone. And people will write me like, yo, and like say, and then like she'll laugh under it, and I'm like, no, listen, like it's not me, it's my sister, so be careful. Like, but it's cool. Like it's not anything awkward. I think, I don't know. I think it's really just cool to be able to do it, if that makes sense, because I can go out with her, and Sky's 20. She's 21 now. So if I really
she's old enough to hang out,
like I can go out with Sky.
Do they call you auntie? Or just the youngest?
They do actually.
They do. Oh.
Yeah, Davier and Sky do. Yeah, they actually do, and I'm comfortable with whatever. But from the first interaction, it was like
we're the same age.
Yeah, like I don't want to be your aunt either. Like in a sense, like, because they're looking at me like, no, I'm not. And I'm like, well, I feel the same. Like, why would I want to
So y'all were both confused in that moment, like, you're my aunt, but we the same age?
It was really, really confusing. So, yeah, like, but I feel like they do, and yeah, it wasn't anything forced or anything. Like I said, like, they want to call me Arielle, that's fine. Yeah.
So I think that's great that they were able to build that bond. So would you be open to having therapy sessions with your siblings just to like comb through the different things or questions that you have?
I'll be honest, Shateek's answered any question I've ever had.
So you feel like all your questions are answered?
Yeah. She's gave it to me raw and uncut. Like, and then she'll, like, I know she's my sister, right? Because then she'll check in, like, you all right? Like, you hear me? Like, I want to make sure that you're okay with what I'm giving you too. And it's crazy because when I talk to people, it's kind of like, all right, well, let me know when you're ready to, like, continue this conversation, like little things like that. So, like, yeah, she's answered any question. And from day one, she told me that, like, if you have any questions, let me know. I'll like, if I don't know the answer, like, I'll find out. And yeah, I don't really have any questions.
So what advice would you give maybe a teenager who's going through something similar where they're finding out like, oh, I am the other family? What would you tell them?
Truthfully, I think the only thing I would say is let it go. Let it go. Because you're going to work yourself up to get mad at this person, this person, and this person. And what is it going to do for you? So that's really what I would say. Any advice I would give for anybody in this situation or a situation similar is just let it go. It's not worth it. And to be honest, like, I can even say that, like, luckily I did start to talk to Shateek when I did, and I was able to have a relationship because she was able to give me that phone call and not me have to hear it from somewhere else or
about your father's passing,
about our father. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, let it go, because if I would have been mad at her, like, oh no, I don't want a sister now, then what? You get what I'm saying? So I definitely say my advice to anybody is just let it go. It's not worth it. It is not worth it. And then look at all the great things that can come out of it. I'm so happy. I'm happy. Like, even now, like, I've grown up. I've grown up, of course, but I can still call my sister and be like, well, listen to this, because I think it sounds a little crazy, but if you say it don't sound crazy, then it don't sound crazy.
Right.
And I know she's going to be like, yeah, that sounds a little crazy. So then I'll be like, oh, right.
Yeah, she has the best advice. She is hilarious, but she's very real and honest with her, her opinion. So I'm happy that you guys have that relationship. And as she said, just let it go, because
it's not worth it.
Yeah, it's not worth it. So what's next for Arielle?
I don't know.
She's still...
I don't know.
She don't know.
Yeah, I can't. I think right now I'm just being happy, finding peace. Yeah, that's all I'm really interested in now. Like, just being happy, just smiling, like, and feeling that energy, keeping people with great energy around me that have these like feelings, so that we can reciprocate them on each other. Like I said, even with being with my youngest niece Zoe, like Zoe will call me auntie this, auntie that, and it's just like, okay girl, like all right. And then she'll say like little things. We haven't got a chance to go out like yet again, but like we've done outings. She'll come spend the night, and it's a great feeling because like I have people, like I'm not in it alone. So I went through a lot of years of feeling alone, and it's okay, you're not alone, but you have to accept it.
Yes. So. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much.
No problem.
She's a busy girl. She took the time out of her schedule to come and sit down and share her story. And hopefully I can get you and Shateek to just sit here and talk to each other and just give the people some advice, because your advice to me was let it go, and Shateek's advice was stay out of grown folks' business. So those go hand in hand. Thank you again for sitting down with me, and I appreciate you.